All right, we're going to make a video about lighting, but first I have to turn on everything. I have to get everything going. Computer, turn on the studio. When that comes on, then I have to go turn on the other stuff. Just so, wait a minute, where's my phone at? Getting this Gobi app, turn this on, turn these on, get this color going, maybe turn that brightness down a hair. You can see that light right above me right there. And then if we turn that down, we can turn that down. We can control this environment a little better. And we turn on these other lights. I'll be right back. Get this light going, plug this in, plug this in. Got to turn on the TV over here to get the Gorilla going. Turn on the Galaxy projectors. And I have one more Galaxy projector to turn on. So there we go. Voila. It might seem like a bit much, but I did all that for the point of this video, which is to talk about lighting. I had someone recently ask me a question on a past video where I made a honeycomb grid for a Godox ES45, which is shining on my face right now. And they basically wanted to know how I get some of these colors and lighting to pop in the background the way I do. So that's what we're going to talk about if you want to stick around. You know, I got to be honest. I wasn't a fan of when I edited that and I realized how much that camera back there, the lens is breathing as it's trying to focus on me. I just didn't really enjoy that much, but I use this camera when I'm live streaming. So basically it's following me around. I need it to be able to change its focus. All right. I just wanted to drop that as a disclaimer because I know some of you guys are gear nuts like me and you probably noticed it too. But anyway, let's get into this question. So on a video that I did a while back where I made a honeycomb grid that goes on my Godox ES45 LED panel lights. I have 3 of these guys. You can check out the channel if you want to see those videos. But someone actually commented, Alish TTB says, great video. I'm streaming. I got an Elgato key light. I see that I need this type of honeycomb on it. I am new to light camera action. How do you make other colors pop off so good? I understand part has to do with the quality of the camera, but I also see that you use a spotlight for purple. Could you explain what different types of light you use around the room? Your studio looks great. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And thank you for the question. Yeah, let's dive in. First thing I want to say is that no, I am not a pro at anything. I just have God knows how many hours in this room with the lighting, watching videos on YouTube, trying to apply what I've learned from others, whether it be in the camera settings. I have a Sony A7C that's shooting me right now. And if I want, I can switch and I have a Sony A7C over here that's shooting me as well. That camera back there is a Sony A6500. And so it's a little older. These are kind of newer, but nothing's the most modern, the most up to date. Just noticed that this LED was flickering. So I basically turned it all the way up to the brightest setting to try to get that flicker to stop. Anyways, the theory is actually simple. You got to have a dark background with a bright foreground. Like if you watch podcasts, a lot of times these guys are in low lit rooms and they have lights that are, you know, shining on them fairly bright to take them out of the background, to create a separation. A lot of times when you see people doing interviews, they'll have all the lights off and then they have like an overhead dome softbox light over the person that's being interviewed and the person that's doing the interviewing. But it's more than just that, at least in my setup. Okay, so now let me try to actually answer the question that I was asked. How do I get the color of like the LEDs to pop out the way they're popping out? It's not brightness. Okay, so if you are shooting in a way that I'm shooting with the ISO set to my settings, or, you know, if you're shooting for low light, that's basically what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to get into settings and showing you diagrams and things like that, but I'm trying to shoot for low light settings. And for the camera experts out there, if you see a bunch of noise in here and you know a trick that I could do to get rid of that noise, like in the dark areas, let me know. However, back to the question. Nothing's bright in here. Absolutely nothing is bright in here. That TV with the Gorilla on it that you see, that thing is like super dark. If you're standing here and actually looking at it in person, it's very dark. It doesn't look like it looks on this camera right now. It's very different. On camera, it looks very bright, very vivid, but it's not in real person. Same thing with all the LEDs that you see in this room. As a matter of fact, most of these LEDs are set to 1% of their power usage. And if I go any higher, they look distorted, they look blown out, it just looks terrible. So everything in here, lighting, room, etc., is set to very, very low settings. My logic is pretty simple. I mean, if I were going to live stream for say an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, whatever the case is, I know there's people out there streaming for like 10, 11, 12 hours. Hats off to you. I wouldn't want to do it. But basically, no matter whether it's me or it's you or whoever it is, like if you're going to stream for any X amount period of time and you're not doing IRL, then you really want to build a room that kind of vibe checks with you, right? Like, and for me, I didn't want to be in a room that is like super lit up, turn on the ceiling lights and put a light in my face and go live. That's not what I wanted. And I mean, years ago when I first started to live stream, this room was just white walls. A futon was sitting behind me. There was a desk over here. I had a cell phone that I would go live from, and that was it. And I had no idea at that time that basically I would grow into this kind of space. I didn't see that coming. And shout out to a lot of people who watch the live streams. They've been kind enough that some of these things came from them, and I didn't have to come out of pocket for some of this stuff. Some of the stuff I did, you know what I mean? Like, which is neither here nor there, but I'm just saying thank you regardless to anybody out there that's ever been that level of kind down for the cause. We love you long time. Before I end this video, I just want to show you what I mean. I'm going to show you a test, right? Like we're going to play with the lighting, play with the setup, and you guys tell me what you think. Now, I will say this, that normally when I'm live streaming, the lights that are shining down on me now are not as bright as they are, you know, at this moment. They're usually a lot softer because when I'm live streaming, like I said, I would rather it be softer. So I'll show you. When I'm live streaming, I usually set about right here. And then with this guy over here, I almost turn it off, you know, like, so you can actually see this in real time. And some of you guys would probably say, well, this looks even better. But then a lot of people complain, you can't make anybody happy. So the main thing is to make yourself happy. And if I'm live streaming, this is what it looks like. But here's what I want to show you. This is what it normally looks like in this room. I have the Govee overheads on, which is what I normally leave on, and bright because we're in here doing laundry or I'm looking for tools or whatever the case is. This room doesn't always look the way it looks when I'm making videos. Now, with the Govee lights, these are just lights that you can mount up on your ceiling. Pretty cool. You can control them from the app. With these lights, I can definitely tone it down a bit, you know, and get a little dimmer going so that if I'm in here playing video games or working on the computer, I don't have to sit in super bright lights. But this room's not always Hollywood. 9 times out of 10 is definitely not. I usually just turn all that stuff on to go live. But I just wanted to answer the question for the gentleman that asked. And my only advice is if you guys are getting into streaming and you're wanting to hook up lights or whatever, is watch videos where they're talking about, you know, controlling the environment. Basically, you want to be able to black your room out almost. You know, turn the overhead light off or whatever you've got, and different strokes for different folks. Some people love to see like the Auburn style warmer glows, you know, like the warmer Kelvins and the warmer lamps and blacks and oaks or whatever the case is. And some people like me just got sucked into YouTube gaming setups and, well, this was the result. I hope that kind of helps answer the question. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for sticking around. If you're still here, you should probably just hit the button. You should just do it.
Do it! Just do it!
Adios.